Mindless mechanical fiends. I've had enough of you.
While many action RPGs feature generic Tolkien-inspired fantasy settings and monsters you've seen countless times before, The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing 2 takes place in a gothic noir version of 19th century Eastern Europe. Like its predecessor, the game is based on Bram Stoker's Dracula, with the son of Van Helsing taking the leading role. Instead of spiders and goblins, you'll find giant muscular mutants, masked creatures with claws, and men with chainsaws for arms. The change in style makes Van Helsing 2 feel distinct and intriguing.
I'm just a simple ghost, Van Helsing. But you might want to use your occult abilities to jump back to the commander.
Van Helsing himself is a rather charismatic fellow. Not afraid of cracking a joke or two, he manages to be more than just a faceless monster slayer. His best moments are when he's interacting with Lady Katarina, a ghost rescued by Van Helsing's father. Katarina has a sharp wit and sarcastic tongue, always throwing out a humorous quip at the right moments. She isn't just there for laughs, however. Katarina also aids Van Helsing in combat by acting as a ranged fighter, throwing ghostly projectiles that draw enemy attention. She can even multiply for a brief period of time if a little extra firepower is needed.
No, don't you die on me! I'm too young to haunt the same place for eternity!
As for Van Helsing, he plays as expected. Various skills are required as you level up, and these skills can be assigned to either the left or right mouse button. At the start of the game, you can choose between several different classes, which change the nature of skills. The Blade class, for example, can make quick work of a single target, but is slightly less effective when dealing with large groups of enemies. Although skills and classes have certainly been done before, Van Helsing 2's Rage mechanic provides an interesting twist to combat. During battle, a yellow rage meter will slowly fill up. By pressing spacebar, you can spend a variable amount of that meter, which adds an additional benefit to your next used skill, such as more damage or lifesteal. The more meter you spend, the more potent skills are, but it isn't always best to use it up all at once. Since you're often dealing with so many enemies at the same time in Van Helsing 2, using Rage sparingly makes it far easier to get through fights. The first game focused on Van Helsing as a monster hunter, and while you'll put down quite a few beasts in the sequel, the stakes are much higher. Borgovia, the land where everything takes place, is at war. General Hakar doesn't exactly see eye to eye with Van Helsing and wants to put his order out of business. Not long after the game starts, you're tasked with defending an entire city from Hakar's forces. Seemingly unending waves of enemies pour in from every direction, making Van Helsing's first act far more intense than the typical clear the cellar of rats sort of beginnings that you usually see in action RPGs.
Is it me? Or has our secret lair changed quite a bit?
There's still a lot to experience in Van Helsing 2, since we were only able to spend a couple of short hours in Borgovia. While many aspects of combat may be overly familiar to anyone versed in the genre, the rage mechanic and ethereal companion seem like enough to keep things interesting. It's hard to say whether or not the rest of the game is as strong as its opening, but right now, we're definitely on the hook for more hunting.